minor issue today. We've got our fuel filters. We filled up recently, and I've got vacuum gauges on the filters, and we're showing a spiked amount of dirtiness to the filter. It's
the day after.
Yeah, the day after. Well, yeah, basically a day after fueling. It shouldn't spike that fast. It's gone up about 50%. It's about basically 50% used. And as a comparison, we went 200 hours on the last set of filters, and this one has been maybe 30 hours or something like that, or 20 hours.
5 days travel.
Yeah, 5 days travel. Not good. We have spares in stock. I will check them underway as well as when we get to our anchorage. If I have to change them, then I've got the spares with me. What I don't have is spares. So I guess if I had any recommendation for you out there is make sure you've got lots of spare fuel filters, because if you do need to change them, I mean, you really can't go very far without fuel. The vacuum gauges, yeah, the vacuum gauges on the rake bores are really, really helpful. That was something I added in Green Turtle Bay on the river system, and it's really informative, because often your fuel filters will need to be changed before your oil filters, especially if you get some dirty fuel. Anyway, we're suspicious that we've got a bit of dirty fuel. It'll work itself out with the filters, but we may go through some filters doing so.
So I changed these fuel filters at 1,588 hours. And this is what they look like. And we are at 1620 right now, which means they have 40 hours on them. That is in the yellow already. The last time I changed the fuel filters was in Clearwater, and we went from Clearwater down to Fort Myers, across the Okeechobee to Stewart, Stewart to Miami, Miami to 300 to 400 miles through the Bahamas, back to Florida and up to Jekyll Island, and they had not reached the yellow. We've been getting clean fuel all the way along. But in South Carolina, a couple of days ago, we got bad fuel. Both sides are equally dirty, so I know exactly where I got the bad fuel, and so I'm gonna have to change these fuel filters immediately. They won't go another day, because yesterday they were, or this morning they were right there, and now they're up here at the end of today. That's not great. It's awful. So I'm going to change them now, and I suspect I'll still go through more filters, just getting through this dirty fuel. We'll see. I simply don't know, but I'm not very happy about it. I should mention, before I have diesel fuel all over my fingers and can't videotape, I've shut off my fuel source to the filters. These vacuum gauges I installed in Green Turtle Bay on the river system, and if you don't have them and you have racors, I highly recommend that you install them, because I would have no idea that this was already up in the yellow had I not had these vacuum gauges on here. I would have assumed that they were fine, and what I would have found out is when the engine was starving for fuel, that's when I would have known I had a fuel problem. Right now I can fix it before it becomes a serious problem. So I'm going to take the top off. I've got my new filters ready to go up here. I have to put my new seals on, which are sitting down there, and then we'll dispose of the old fuel filters. We should just have a look at how bad they are. See if we can do this without making too much of a mess. How bad do they look? They've got a nice little handle on it for pulling up. Look at those. Those are less than 40 hours old. So you can see how black those are, and that's how normally clean they are. I've replaced the filter with a nice clean one. You can see it in there. It just pressure fits in there, and then I will put the lid back on, but I'm gonna just pour a little bit of diesel fuel in there just to top up what was in the filter before. Not enough that it's gonna spill out, and when I throttle up the engines to start it, I can goose it a little bit, and that'll help. And we're back. I'll have to change these engine hours to the 1620 that it now is, and it's May 13th, I think, or 14th, something like that. But these are, I've now preset this back to my sort of red area, which I would say was right, the yellow area where I want to start looking at changing the filters. And then this will come up right away as soon as we get some load on it. But that's been reset, and filters are changed, cleaned up, and of course my fuel, this is really important to remember, that the fuel is turned back on. Now, because of the fact that we know we've gotten some bad fuel, it's very possible that we will have to replace these filters again in the short term, until we get back to having clean fuel. But this will be necessary if you get dirty fuel, is changing your rake cores regularly. Hopefully you have rake cores, because they are important to have a pre-filter system. Some people have a dual system where they can actually turn off the valve on one filter and switch to another filter. I'm sure there's other systems as well, but I had been thinking, well, why on earth would I need to do that? I can just change a filter whenever I want. It would have been nice to be able to switch today, underway, just on the fly, be able to switch from one filter to the other, and shut these ones off and then change them later. But I figured that we could make it to the marina with the dirt level that they were at. They weren't in the red, they were in the high yellow. And so it's been changed, and we'll see how it goes from here.